Happy Independence Day to Poland and all those who celebrate this important holiday. Good morning and welcome. My name's Don Arleth and you're watching World News. After 123 years of partition and foreign rule by Russia, Prussia, and Austria, Poland regained its independence on November 11, 1918. The collapse of the occupying empires during World War I created a unique opportunity for Polish leaders and activists to restore a sovereign state. Today, Poles celebrate their freedom, independence, and sovereignty. November 11th marks Poland's Independence Day. Most of the festivities, including the annual Independence March, are planned in the capital of Warsaw. Celebrations marking 107 years since Poland regained its independence will begin with representatives of state authorities laying wreaths at the memorial to the Fathers of Independence, including Wincenty Witos, Roman Dmowski, and Józef Pilsudski. The ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier with President Karol Nawrocki in attendance will take place at noon, local time. Apart from the Independence March, the streets of Warsaw will see participants of the 35th Annual Independence Run set off at 11:11 a.m., the start time symbolizing the date of Independence Day. The Independence Run will also take place in Krakow. Even across the Atlantic, Poland's Independence Day celebration already kicked off. On Monday evening, Polish football superstar Robert Lewandowski became the first Pole in history to symbolically light up the Empire State Building with Polish national colors. The FC Barcelona star called the event, and on the eve of Polish Independence Day, a great experience, adding that he was happy to participate in the celebration. "I'm proud to be Polish. I'm proud to represent our country no matter where I am," said Lewandowski, who appeared in New York City alongside his wife, Anna. Inside the building, the footballer symbolically lit the lights of a large model of the skyscraper, while outside, the top of the building automatically lit up in white and red colors. The ceremony was also attended by the Polish Consul General, Mateusz Sakowicz, who noted Lewandowski as the first Polish citizen to light up the Empire State Building. Lewandowski was also presented with a commemorative statuette of the building by Robert Pender of the Empire State Realty Trust, which manages the iconic skyscraper. And we will have coverage of the celebrations of Poland's independence throughout the day today, so stay with us here on TVP World. Now let's move to the modern-day struggle to not be dominated by a foreign power, which brings us to Ukraine and its struggle against Russian occupation. Following a major anti-corruption investigation that uncovered serious misconduct within Ukraine's energy sector, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has called for urgent accountability and systemic reform. As the country grapples with ongoing Russian attacks and widespread power outages, Ukrainian officials emphasize that the probe reflects their dedication to transparency and reinforces their commitment to European Union accession efforts.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has called for decisive action against corruption amid an ongoing probe into the country's energy sector.
Energoatom provides Ukraine with the largest share of energy generation now. Transparency in the company is a priority. In energy, in every industry, everyone who built the schemes must receive a clear procedural answer. There must be sentences.
The 15-month-long investigation carried out by Ukraine's anti-corruption watchdog revealed major irregularities regarding the country's nuclear giant.
Among the currently identified members of the criminal organization are former advisor to the Minister of Energy, the Executive Director for Physical Protection and Security of Nuclear Power Operator Energoatom, a well-known businessman, and 4 individuals working in back offices.
The investigation comes as Kyiv faces renewed pressure to reform and meet European Union standards on transparency and governance. But Ukraine's energy minister hopes the probe will instead showcase the country's progress toward accountability.
I hope that the openness of the investigation will not affect, but will only reassure our international partners that we are open to any actions that are taking place.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's energy sector is facing another major challenge. Massive blackouts have hit Kyiv and other regions, with heating and internet cut for hours at a time, after yet another Russian strike on critical infrastructure.
In Kyiv here specifically, we've been dealing with 9 hours roughly of no electricity, Saturday, Sunday, today, and that's what's expected for the rest of this week. It's very problematic.
Ukraine's gas infrastructure has emerged as Russia's prime target. A move Ukrainian officials say has nothing to do with actual warfare.
Gas is used for heating, so trying to turn off the heat during the winter. And basically it's only about civilians. It doesn't affect frontline in any case.
We've seen some crazy
Interrupted by a power outage, Zelenskyy recently told the Guardian newspaper that Ukraine urgently needs 27 Patriot systems and hopes to borrow some from European allies. As winter closes in, he says no aid will ever be enough until Moscow stops its assault. In this war, even electricity has become a front line.
As Russia continues its aerial assaults on Ukrainian infrastructure near the Danube, Romania is increasingly facing the spillover effects of the conflict. The latest incident has prompted renewed attention to the country's border security and air defense capabilities. Romania's defense ministry said on Tuesday that military patrols were able to locate drone fragments suspected to have come from Russia's Monday night attack on Ukrainian ports in the Danube. Poor weather conditions did not allow Bucharest to scramble jets during the attack, but the local population was alerted to seek shelter as a precaution. Romania shares a border with Ukraine and has been experiencing Russian drone wreckage falling onto its territory, as well as airspace violations since the start of Moscow's full-scale invasion. The suspected drone debris was found 5 kilometers into Romania's territory near Grindu in the southeastern county of Tulcea near the Danube. Romania has recently received an advanced air defense system from the United States, which could enhance its defense capabilities. In an escalating border dispute with Belarus, Lithuanian trucks who are stranded on Belarusian territory will now be subject to a daily fee of €120. According to a decree signed last week, those who failed to pay the charge, they risk confiscation of their vehicles.
From now on, Lithuanian trucks parked on Belarusian territory will be subject to a daily fee of €120. According to a decree signed last week, those who fail to pay the charge risk confiscation of their vehicles. Belarusian authorities said that the movement of Lithuanian trucks has been suspended in both directions, adding that vehicles will be released once Lithuania resumes normal border operations. On Monday, the Belarusian Customs Authority confirmed that over 1,100 Lithuanian registered trucks stranded near the border have been moved to designated parking lots. The multiple border crossings have been shut down by Lithuanian authorities in late October, citing smuggling balloons launched from Belarus that are continuously disrupting civil aviation in the country. In response to the decree, officials in Vilnius said they are currently seeking diplomatic solutions to recover the vehicles stranded in Belarus.
The appointment of John Cole as U.S. Special Envoy to Belarus is a welcome move. Franek Vyachorka, the chief advisor to exiled Belarusian opposition leader Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya, told TVP World. Vyachorka said that Cole earlier this year secured the release of a number of political prisoners and that more detainees would now be freed.
It shows primarily that Belarus remains on the agenda of President Donald Trump. John Cole is working on Belarusian political prisoners since February. We were advocating for a long time to have the special appointee for Belarus. After 2021, when Julie Davis was ambassador and special envoy for Belarus, we didn't have anyone. And right now there will be John Cole. And we worked with him thoroughly in last months to make sure people are being released. He works purely on humanitarian track. His goal is to negotiate with Lukashenko, and Lukashenko is a very tough negotiator. And I'm sure that John Cole will manage to release many political prisoners, including Andrzej Poczobut, Polish-Belarusian journalist. So this is the goal. We are happy with this appointment, and we are wishing him best luck.
Amid growing concerns over European security and shifting global alliances, the European Union is taking steps to strengthen its intelligence coordination. The European Commission, led by Ursula von der Leyen, is advancing plans for a centralized intelligence unit to enhance European security.
The European Commission, under President Ursula von der Leyen, has set in motion plans to create a new intelligence unit to better utilize data from national spy agencies. The unit will consist of officials from across the EU intelligence community, but some EU capitals may resist due to concerns over the sharing of sensitive information, especially with the emergence of pro-Russian governments like Hungary. However, US President Trump's suggestions that Washington could reduce its support to Europe and his temporary suspension of intelligence support to Ukraine this spring have spurred the EU to rethink its security capabilities.
Monday saw the UN Climate Conference, also known as COP30, open in Brazil. But the poor attendance and general lack of interest shown by world leaders is a clear cause for concern. So far, reaching the climate goals outlined in the 2015 Paris Agreement turned out to be more challenging than initially expected, with global emissions of greenhouse gases still rising. More on the COP30 in Sonia Gata-Biszczan's report.
This is the Amazon, the rainforest referred to as the lungs of the Earth because of its ability to release oxygen and absorb carbon dioxide. It also provides the backdrop for the COP30 climate conference hosted in the Brazilian city of Belém.
Of course, I'm not going to deny that there's an impact in terms of carbon emissions. There's 50,000 delegates that come to this COP event from all over the world. But the value of having it every year is to hold governments accountable to their targets.
And governments are being held accountable to their commitments under the Paris Agreement, adopted at COP21 in 2015. The treaty called for a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions to limit global warming, but data suggests the opposite of a reduction.
The global emissions are still rising, are still hitting records. We have almost 38 billion tons of CO2 emitted last year. Just in 1990, we had only 22 billion tons.
Greenhouse gas emissions are linked to rising temperatures, and the World Meteorological Organization found 2024 to be the warmest year on record. And climate change comes at a price. Extreme weather events between 1980 and 2024 cost EU countries 822 billion euros. 25% of those costs, over 208 billion, occurred between 2021 and 2024 due to events like heat waves, wildfires, floods, storms, and more.
We know that as the years go on, it's going to get the costs relating to extreme weather events are going to get higher.
Delayed climate action has its consequences. A recent Swiss info poll found that 95% of experts surveyed think the goal of the Paris Agreement to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius in this century is out of reach. For TVP World, I'm Sonia Gata-Biszczan.
And that's all the time we have here on World News. Thanks for joining us, and stay with us for more here on TVP World.